Hi, I'm Sarah. And it's a Wednesday, so we have a Wednesday night Big Brother 23 episode to recap and talk about. And I am very excited about my guests tonight. But first, if you're new to this channel, please click subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. I would super appreciate it. And then we'll just dive in, you guys. Let's get Chantele and Jonathan here.
Hello.
Hello. How are you guys?
I'm great. I'm happy to be here.
Really good. Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Yes, thank you for coming back. Let's talk about this Wednesday episode. It's been a rough week for the stands out there. I think casuals and everybody, right? It's just been a tough week. We're going to start this episode with X has just been spun into the block. Alyssa is breaking down. She got her closest ally up on the block via this roulette. He's not terribly worried, though. And DX is just starting to get the idea that he might be the target.
I mean, he really should have gotten this idea from beforehand. We saw in, I'm not sure which episode it was, that he asked Claire if they're saying to you that they're not going to put you up. She's like, that means they're going to backdoor you. Like, so he has this already lingering in his head with, the previous week. So the fact that he didn't go up, I would be terrified if I were him that I was a backdoor target, especially since I just backdoored my shield in the game. I would be thinking that people would take that opportunity to backdoor me. So his spidey senses should have definitely been up.
I was wondering that too, because the edit made it seem like he was just coming to that realization. And I wondered I'm like, how could you not? Like, how could you not know? You know what I mean? It's just like, this is what happens when you take other people who are a bigger threat and shield in front of you, and you want to make those moves maybe a little too early on. I don't know. This is what happens. They come for you. So.
Yeah, they really didn't show in the edit this past, it would have been Sunday's episode, that we needed to see these spidey senses going up, right? He was what you're talking about, Chantele, from last week when Claire was like, that means they're backdooring you. And then Friday morning, like before noms, he was like, wait, Sarah Beth's tone is like changing. Like he was getting these hints, and he was blocked to play the roulette by his allies, Tiffany and Hannah. So that is not clear in this edit. And all of a sudden, he's sitting here going, wait, am I in trouble? And it's past roulette. Like, you should have played the roulette, dude.
Yeah, never skip an opportunity to save yourself. Which we see someone else kind of take advantage of that in this episode too. Like, don't let you pass it up. I don't know if it was a good idea for the other person, but don't let it pass you up. If you can try to save yourself, by all means. It's too big of a risk.
Just take it this week. You don't know what is going to happen the next week. Like, especially being in danger or like being such a big competitive threat. I am frustrated though that they didn't show how much Hannah convinced him not to play the roulette. And in so much convinced him by saying like she was going to play, and then she didn't even play.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay. And was there any repercussions about the realization that didn't happen, or
he doesn't know that she didn't play?
He's still out to lunch on that. Okay.
The whole house, I mean, well, minus the cookout, right? But everyone in the house thinks that Hannah played and lost. Oh, shucks. But that was the whole plan. She said, Derek, you don't need to play. I'll play and save Claire. When in reality, she had no intention to play whatsoever. Like, that is not in the edit, and that's such a huge thing.
I know, and people are like getting mad at me for like not being happy with Hannah's game right now, because I'm like, I don't think it's good for her to be pushing so hard to get her ally out of the game for whatever reason. Like, he will not be coming for you. He will protect you. He will be a shield in front of you. He will give you his vote no matter what. Like, why are you getting rid of him or like actively kicking him out the door? Like, if he goes and you have to vote him out, okay, fine. But like really standing in the way of him saving himself and Claire, you're still going to be able to put up somebody. Well, maybe not actually that point, but it's just frustrating that his biggest ally is actually who really is sealing his fate this week.
Is because I wonder, does it come into play at all? Because, you know, there's a lot of like duos and people go after duos and whatnot. Is she seeing, yes, she's protected by the cookout, but is maybe there's not a full faith in that, and she's worried that she'll be seen as a duo and would rather just drop it and move on her own and just trust the cookout? Or like, I wonder if that comes into play at all with her, or she's just making silly moves for whatever reason. I don't know. I'm trying to justify it here.
I mean, it's hard to justify. Like, I agree. Like, she's strong with the cookout and she can roll with the cookout, but to actively push that he needs to go ASAP, and when other people in the cookout go, maybe we don't need to get him out yet, to be like, no, we do. It's like, what are you doing, Hannah? I don't understand. And then to sit there in the DR in the episode and tell us she's so sad, I was like, this does not add up.
It's definitely her. I'm so sad. I'm like, you're not that sad, Sarah. That's like Sarah. Oh my God. And you're like, call her Sarah Beth.
You're not that sad. She's not.
Yeah, it's really frustrating. I'm not sure if they're going to show this in the edit, so I don't think it's really that much of a spoiler, but there has been a little bit of movement towards trying to keep Derek X in the game. And she's actively shutting it down, and they kind of only sort of need her vote, kind of. And she's like, no. So I don't know if they're going to show that, because I think they want to keep her as being kind of America's darling a little bit.
Right.
And these star-crossed lovers are being separated by the game and not show that she's actually kicking him out the door.
Yep. Very, very interesting development here in the Big Brother house. We're going to go to Veto Picks, and this is what's super important, right? Derek X is kicking himself for not playing the roulette at this point. He just needs to be drawn to play Veto so that he can protect himself. And guess what, guys? That's not going to happen.
How brutal.
What
everybody's joking about, too, is they're like, if there's any time that these producers can interfere, because we're always speculating, like, well, who's in that? Of course they're playing in the veto. Like, their token gets picked, whatever. You're like, yeah, that really, is it rigged? Is it rigged? Like, couldn't they rig it this time and allow this poor guy to play?
Yeah, but they had their moment finally with having two Dereks in the house. They had their editing moment where they were able to be like, Derek, and then the F, and then like that big pause. And I was like, there you go. Someone's jumping up and down in the editing room. They're like, finally. Yeah.
They literally cut it. You could hear the audio stop. It's not like she said that. She was not like Derek F. They cut the audio for that moment. That was ridiculous. Yeah. Sarah Beth is going to pull Azza. Sure, why not? Claire is going to pull Derek Frazier, not Derek X. And then Xavier's going to pull Alyssa. Well, she's stoked. She's excited. But this is not
excited, especially because she just got her closest ally on the block, and she's been really upset about it. And I'm wondering if she didn't notice that Xavier wasn't upset at all. He's like, don't worry about it. It's okay. Like, if that happened to me, yes, he's protected by the cookout, so I understand why he's not that nervous about it. But if he's trying to at least play it up, that like he should be nervous.
Yeah, but I think like anyone else, it wouldn't make sense. But with him, he's just so cool, calm, and collected anyway, that I'm just like, of course you're like going up to her and being like, it's okay, it's all right. Like you're the one on the block, but I feel like that's who he is. So it's really believable that Xavier is not like too panicked about the whole situation.
Plus it gives him that moment where he gets to like touch Alyssa and be like, it's okay, I'll be okay. And he's just loving every second of that because he's so in love with her. And she's like, but I don't like you up there. And he's like, I'll be a strong man for you, Alyssa. It's okay.
Didn't he even say that, like, I think that she's crying more for me than she did for Kristen?
He's like, what does this mean? Should we think about it? Like, you seem really sad.
And if you verbally say it, how many times were you thinking it? You know what I mean?
Right.
That was, yeah.
Well, this is going to be the first time that we see Claire break down in this episode. She's in the DR crying, and I was like, oh no, this is sad. Oh.
What happened to your tear ducts? They're like, no, I'm not going to cry.
Mine don't work. But I felt something in my heart for Claire. I just don't have any fluid.
I feel bad for Claire, though. You know, I love Claire. I wish she was playing harder. I think she really is getting played in this game. And it's just frustrating because I do feel that she has the capacity of being a really good player. She's really good at strategizing. She's good at bouncing ideas. But I'm learning that she's not good at taking action and making things happen. She's good about talking about the things. I want to see her do something.
There's not a lot of initiative there for sure. But I do think that, you know, if Claire survives this week, kind of a thing, that there could be a reemergence of who Claire is in this game. And, you know, I hope you know, she would take that second chance almost and really kind of run with it. And then, you know, open her eyes to maybe see what's going on and work her way through there. Cause I haven't seen much from her as well. Like, with Brittany, I was ragging on before because it was a little too late, but I haven't really seen anything from Claire either. So, I mean, yeah, it's time for her to really kind of take the reins and run with it, I think.
Yeah, that would be really nice to see if she could make it happen.
She just win the household, even though it's that stupid coin of destiny is going to screw it up. Like, I want her to be safe.
Right. The veto. This is a fun little comp. I love setting up dominoes and knocking them down. And you can pick your path. Which punishments are you willing to do to, you know, the shortest time here, or which prizes would you like? Would you like to go for the prizes, basically? And obviously, we're going to have one person, Big D, who's like, "What? Money, please, thank you."
Like, if that doesn't say that I am going to be dragged to the final two and take that $75,000 prize, nothing does. That's true. Get him out. He's stealing money from you guys because he feels so safe. He feels so, well, I mean, he is safe because he was removed by the thing. But he also wasn't really making any game moves here with maybe oh, I'm going to go and take Xavier off the block and maybe build some social capital with these players. He feels so safe. He doesn't have to do anything but worry about getting 10 grand or 7,500 or whatever it was.
I just find him so entertaining though. I like his little comments when he was screaming about something else or whatever. He's like, "Oh, I'm a lady. I shouldn't be." You know, little comments like that. I just really like it. I find it funny. But yeah, I mean, some of these people have never played dominoes in their life, I think. And some of them I thought Claire was doing a really smart job with it, with testing, you know, how they fall in the more troublesome areas. And that's what you need to do, right? So, but Derek, you're right. He's going to be dragged to the end.
Dragged to the end for sure. But we see two different philosophies here, basically, from the two nominees, right? I think Sarah Beth's definitely trying to win. Alyssa's definitely trying to win. Azza is trying to win. But the two nominees have the most to lose here. And Xavier, who does know he is safe with the vote, but also does want Derek X backdoored, decides to take the direct route, which includes being a third nominee. Claire, who is also on the block and is not protected by any large alliance, making her certainly safe this week, chooses not to take this direct route with the third nominee and go elsewhere. Please explain to me these two theories and what is happening here.
I just don't understand why certain people were playing so hard to get this when really, you know, Sarah Beth just wants anyone to use it and take them off block. I mean, was anyone not going to use it that was playing? Maybe she might think Derek F, but he wasn't going for it anyway. But I mean, I was just like, why is everyone going for it so hard and willing to, you know, do all these punishments and whatnot when I don't know that they have to. And yeah, I didn't understand the whole choice of Derek putting himself on the block if he wins it potentially the following week or whenever he's available as a third nominee. When I'm like, I mean, I guess, you just don't want to be on there at the end of the day, and you don't know what's going to happen within a couple days. And sure, everyone can turn on you, including the cookout, but the likelihood of that happening is almost slim to none, that he really didn't need to do that. So I didn't get it. I want to interview these people and find out what they're thinking and why they're making these choices, because I don't get it.
Totally agree. I was like furious because it's like, well, I mean, okay, I'm furious for a few reasons, that there's no hope in that Derek X is going to be able to save, like all that stuff I'm like upset about. But then I was like, you're going to be saved no matter what, Xavier. Why are you forcing yourself to be put up again? You would have been, hey, I've done my due diligence now. I was a pawn for a week. Like, someone else can take their spot on the block, where it's risky, regardless of whether you have the cookout supporting you or not. It's always risky. Who knows if a twist comes in and screws your whole, week up. And so he could say, like, hey, I don't need to go on the block anymore. I've done my time. It's Tiffany's turn on the block for the cookout. And so the fact that he's taking himself off the block to put himself back on the block later makes kind of no sense, especially when, so say he wins head of household next week, which I remember him saying at one point this week that he wanted to win. And I was like, okay, so then you're going to postpone it for another week where you'd be the third nominee, where you'll have less people that could be voting for you to stay or go. And like, it takes less for you to go out the door. So I just thought it was a very dumb move. I think that he should have let anybody else win, because no matter what, other than Claire, everybody was going to be taking him off the block. And if Claire went down, Derek X would have been up anyways, and he still would have the votes to stay. So I thought that was a poor decision on his part.
I feel like it was a poor decision on both of their parts. Mm-hmm. Like, X didn't need to go the direct route. Sure, gun for the veto, but like, think it through which punishments you're really willing to take. Since you're safe, do you really want to put yourself in a situation when there's less people in the house? Whereas Claire, though, even though it is terrifying to be a third nominee the following week, she needs to actually make sure she's still there the next week. Like, there is nothing telling you that you're safe. So I feel like Claire should have taken that direct route. Why didn't she do that? Yeah. But then why X felt like he needed to? Yeah, those. And
even if you think about it, you're like, well, who's gunning for this? Okay, it's going to be Claire is my other person who's really going to gun for this. So if someone's taking the shorter route, which he could have been like, okay, well, maybe I should take two, and I don't know if that's worth the risk. But I mean, Claire's just going to take herself off if she won it, and then that Derek X is going on the block, and you're going to be safe anyway. So it's like, it doesn't matter if you win it or Claire wins. I just thought it was very short-sighted. And I almost feel like he needs to throw HOH next week, because like you said, Chantele, the longer you wait, the more things can change, and they might be willing to lose one of their own potentially.
So what if it's three people on the block? Be like, oh, let's get Xavier out. Like, we never really had this chance before, and we have to choose a cookout member. We might as well take the most dangerous one and the most likely to win out. Like, it's unlikely, yes, we know, but it's possible that he could go out on the time when he puts himself on the block.
Yeah. Scary stuff.
So scary. Yeah, I agree. I have not heard him say I should throw this HOH and get my third nominee over with yet. He so far has been like, oh, I still want to go for this HOH. Maybe this solitary confinement that he is in currently right now, he will think about it, because Xavier is going to win this veto. He is going to get the veto, but he's going to get third nominee, BB Buck bankruptcy, and the strategy shutdown, which turns out to be a 24-hour solitary confinement that just started a couple hours ago and will go until right before the vote. He will just walk into vote without knowing what has happened, and then return with the house guests.
How do you guys feel about this? I kind of wish that he didn't get to have a vote. Like, that would have been like really good punishment, that he just like, you're out of the loop. Like, you don't get to have any say of what's going on here.
The only problem I had with any of it was that you only had one person play the game this week, and just a few last week. And there's not a lot of money going around. So the fact that you're willing to bankrupt someone when you know you want that third thing played next week potentially, I just didn't like. I thought they could come up with another punishment, like maybe you don't get to vote or whatever, like you said, like make that something separate rather than take away the money, the bucks, because I just felt that it's not in an abundance already. So I don't know. I just feel like they shouldn't mess around with that, because then you're potentially setting yourself up for a week where people don't have any money to play, you know.
Well, people don't. So the only people that have money to play are Derek Frazier right now. So he won an extra $100. So he's, no matter what, he has $300 now. So he will be able to play, of course. And then Hannah has 150. So if she gets 100 from America, which probably America will give her, she will be able to play. But is she going to play? Because she keeps on not wanting to play these things.
Yeah. So you might have one person who's playing, or you might have like two. I mean, it just, I would just like to see several people with that option, and you risking someone's all their bucks, just, you know, takes it away and sets you up for a little bit of failure, I think. So, and then different competitions. So.
X was in the running though to play this coin. So I kind of liked that he got BB bankrupt, because he had been talking about how he really wants to play this coin, and now it's not an option for him. So that did mix it up. I appreciate that. But yeah, for some people like Alyssa, she's like, I don't really have any bucks. Who cares? Like, that's fine. That's not a punishment. We see the vote thing in Survivor a lot, where you lose your vote. It's odd that we don't see it in Big Brother.
Well, especially
like
with
safety without power kind of a situation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like that's exactly what I would hope that the punishment, solitary confinement is that, like, hey, you can't vote as well. You're out of the game. You can't strategize, and you can't influence how the house votes. I think that would have been, he would have maybe thought a little bit harder about that decision, because he may not have taken it then, because it's like, oh, they can easily flip this vote now if I don't have my vote in the mix there. And what if I come out of solitary confinement and Derek X is still in the house? So that would have been fun, right?
That would have been. That would have been. So besides obviously what we just said for Xavier, they do announce that one person went for the prizes, but they do not say who it is. But everyone's gonna know. So that was,
it's your boy, Jonathan.
The edit on that killed me, where they all are like, it's Derek F. And he's just like in the backyard. Yeah, I see. This is why I like watching a good edited version of things sometimes. For this moment, I was like, oh, that's really funny. They all know he's obviously lying about the previous week or whatever too.
I wish though that they showed everybody's times.
Yeah, that was. I wanted to see how
far
behind Claire was.
Why? Well, they can show,
because then you know, like, what if Derek F had the fastest time and yet he's not winning that? Then you would know that he went for the money instead of that, and it's supposed to be secret. So that's the only reason that you can't.
They could have at least showed us, though. I would have liked to have just known.
Yeah, on the screen they could have showed us.
Claire was like a whole minute behind. And
I feel like maybe they would have if it was something that was really close, perhaps.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's what I was kind of feeling. I'm like, oh, maybe she wasn't even in the running here, so that's why they didn't bother showing it. Because it would just be like, oh, okay, well, she made the right decision because she was never going to beat him. So maybe that's
if
why.
She had taken that direct route, maybe she could have. We'll never know. Well, now Claire's going to have a breakdown in the shower. Lots of shower tears here. And at this point, like, I'm mad at you for not taking the direct route and winning veto yourself, Claire, but there's nothing you can do to save Derek at this point. And that's really why she's crying, right?
Well, this is where I did tear up, and a couple of leakages happened out of my eyes. I don't know if you can still see the streaks. Because when she's just like, I feel like when Tiffany came in and she's like, I feel like I let you down. I feel like I let everyone down. And like, see, I'm getting emotional again. It's kind of like when you know this is her dream to be here in this house, and like we know that she's not playing that great, and she's trying to take it in stride, and she's trying to do the best thing that she can. and she's just not executing. And I feel for her because I know she wants to have Derek still in the house, and I know she doesn't want to be up next to him, and whether she feels safer with him beside her or not, this is her least like desired position to be in this game. And so I felt for her big time.
Yeah, and I feel like it's her realizing it's more than just this particular situation. I feel like she realizes what position she's in and is really unhappy about how it's all going. And it just probably really overwhelmed her in the moment. But yeah. Tiffany, though, Tiffany's not my favorite person lately. I'm falling out of love with Tiffany. I saw a clip online. Tiffany, some bullying going on. I didn't like it.
Which part? When? Tell me.
She was imitating Sarah Beth's voice, and it was on TikTok, and it was a full 3-minute clip. And Derek F was trying to get her to stop, and Asa was trying to get her to stop, and they were like changing the subject and moving on and saying how terrible she was, and like jokingly saying how terrible she was, but clearly it was uncomfortable, and she just kept going on imitating Sarah Beth's voice, and it was really just poor taste. I mean,
yeah, when she gets going on Sarah Beth, I have to switch the feeds. It's not nice. I don't like it. It's too much. I think it's too much as well. Instead of crying though in the shower, I was yelling because I get more angry than sad. And I was like, she was saying, I let you down. And I was like, no, Tiffany is letting you down, Claire. Tiffany, she is playing you and playing Derek, and it's, there's not much she can do. I gotta say thank you so much for the super chat. Shout out to the coolest hosts and hottest chat room in the evening. Hello. Yes, include everyone. Yes, not BB23, Christian. Thank you so much for that. Appreciate it. We got a cute little segment here with the Red Cross. That was nice to see.
Definitely, they haven't had those like sponsored moments in a while. Like I haven't seen one of those.
It felt like kind of. To me, it just felt watching it kind of came out of nowhere. So I just wish that they incorporated it a little bit. Yeah, a little bit better. But I mean, yeah, it's a good little moment there for sure.
Derek X is going to talk to Sarah Beth here. This is his last little pitch here. He has a good, strong feeling he's going up. He's going to be backdoored. And so he offers her a 3-week safety deal. He also, they didn't quite spell this out in the edit, but he said, I will take your input if I win the coin. Like, whoever you don't want put up will not go up. And he says, if Hannah's the one that you put up, I will give you my promise that I'll vote her out. This is the best he can do, right?
I mean, on paper, sure, that sounds great. But watching him, I just didn't feel like this is your life on the line. I personally didn't feel like it was. I didn't feel like it was something that he was doing everything that he could to possibly persuade Sarah Beth. I mean, maybe he really couldn't, and maybe I just didn't see it, but I just didn't feel it. I mean, on paper, all those points and, offering this, that, and the other thing are great, but it just, I don't know. I was like hoping he would do more. And the other thing too, with these people, there's a lot of trying to convince someone directly about certain things. There needs to be more like, you speak to this person speaks to that person, they get back to Sarah Beth. You need to change people's minds like kind of en masse, and just like instead of directly going to them when you're in the corner and you have nowhere else to go, because I don't know how much of an argument that is. But if you kind of, get other people on board and they get back to the HOH for you, that can really, I think, in my opinion, there could be more, it could sway them a little bit more. So I don't know. I just wasn't persuaded by it.
Well, I think the reason why is because he's a recruit that started to do decently well in the game with having some, help from Kylan, help from Tiffany, help from Claire. So he's learning as he goes. But I don't think he's not a super fan that knows like, oh my God, like this is my dream to be here. Like if I go out right now, I can't have that happen. I'm going to do everything that I can to stay. He doesn't have that instinct. I feel it's because he's not a super fan. Like he maybe knows of the show and maybe he's seen a couple episodes in Sequester, but I don't think that he has like that instinct because he's not a fan.
He also does have that sort of tone to him where he kind of sits down and he's kind of reserved and he'll just say, like, people are coming for you, Sarah Beth. If I'm here, I'll protect you. And it's not super like forceful and compelling. He's also not massaging her or touching her. So I think that's how Kyland works. So it just doesn't work maybe if he's not giving her a massage at the same time. But to your point, Jonathan, like everyone had already come to her to backdoor Derek. So they're all doing what you suggest. He doesn't have a lot of options.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, when a house wants to target you, you're kind of in trouble. So
I mean, but that's how you stay. You find the one or two people who may be on the fence, or maybe you can convince and then see if they will speak to people on your behalf and see if you can get that ball rolling. I mean, the likelihood, not very, but at the same time, that I think is really your only hope, as opposed to just going directly to an HOH and being like, hey, let's completely wipe your entire plan that's worked out perfectly this week. Let's just put it aside for a second and save me instead. All right. And I just don't ever see that really working for the most part.
I wonder if it would have worked. I don't know if it would be from him or who would be able to say this in a way that might have sparked something in Sarah Beth to change her mind. But in the beginning of the week, she didn't want this to be the way that it went down necessarily. She was fully convinced by Kyland to make Derek X be the backdoor target, for the two nominees to put up. Like, all of that was his doing. And so what if, like, maybe Jackpot came together and was like, girl power, like, let's stick it together. Like, whether this is your decision or not, like, it just looks like you're doing Kyland's bidding. Like, what do you want to do, Sarah Beth? And maybe empower her that way a little bit without sounding condescending or anything like that. Like, you really have to do it. Like, it would be very particular how you would have to do it without her feeling, getting her back up against the wall. But, like, I think that somebody could have maybe influenced her to be like, you could do what you want to do. Why are you following through with some other guy's plan that, like, he wants to win this game too? Like, let's see if that would have worked.
Yeah, they could have absolutely done that. Probably like a full night with the bottle of wine that they had and sitting in the bathtub. Like they would have had to make like a whole girls' night out of it and like work on deprogramming what Kyland deprogrammed. That I would have liked to have seen that. That would have been very interesting. Unfortunately, no one did it.
Why not? I mean, it's because Tiffany's not on board, and that's the problem. Claire doesn't do anything without Tiffany being on board, and like she really she needed Jackpot to come together. That was what was supposed to be happening, and then she gets put up on the block. Like, huh? Like, what? Kyland talks to you for 6 hours, and now I'm on the block. Like, no. Let's get back to making sure a woman wins this game, please.
And ironically, what Derek is saying to her is actually true. She is the house target next week. Odds are she's going up. And if Big D wins that coin, like he probably is going to, you're going up, Sarah Beth. And if he was really making her this offer of like, I'll use your input with the coin and not put you up, that actually is a good deal for her. But she just does not know it. And she's gung-ho on getting this big target of Derek X out. So we move on to the veto ceremony. Xavier takes himself down, and she does put Derek X up.
I mean, obviously, you and I, Sarah, have been sitting on this information for a few days, but it still hurts. It still hurts. Did it hurt, Jonathan? Like, I know you're not a fan this episode of Derek X, but like, did it hurt to see him?
I mean, Sarah's in my draft pick, Sarah Beth, and so I just don't even like the game that she's playing because I'm like, what are you thinking? Like, you're obviously doing someone else's bidding, really, and it's just like it's not a good game for you. You clearly don't have that realization of your place in the house and what's really going on. But beyond that, I mean, I do like Derek as well. So yeah, I hate when people aren't playing that well. And there are certain people who are playing great because they're making things happen. But just to see kind of, an HOH kind of just happen this way, I'm like, it's just, I don't know. I just, it's not a good game for Sarah Beth. And if he's going to go out this way. I want to see him like really fight for it or something. I just want, like you said, compelling earlier. I want something to be more compelling, whether it's the HOH or the person who's going this week. And I feel both of them are kind of being played on both ends. And so, yeah, I don't know how I feel about that, to be honest with you.
As much as it hurts, Derek X is a fan to the TV viewers, and the internet viewers seem to love him across the board. So it's sad to see him go. But I do feel like this was some real good Big Brother game, that he had the money to save himself with the roulette. Odds are he's going to win a comp if he plays it. And Tiffany and Hannah had to get together and convince him he didn't need to play. And so he didn't. And I mean, that is Big Brother. That is some really good strategy there, that they kept him from doing it. And now they can backdoor him if they want. Which way the votes go this week, they are going to get a non-cookout member out. And that is the game. So I guess I have to be excited about that.
I mean, it's no matter what, the whole season has been better than the last 10 seasons. So like it's still very enjoyable. I just want people to be playing harder. Like, it shouldn't be this easy for the cookout just to steamroll, because they're not that slick. You know what I mean? Like, I just wish that there was people that were coming up against them that, like, just made them have to work harder for their final six placement. It just seems too easy for them. And I don't know if it's just because they're that good or people are playing that poorly, but I just wish that people were playing better, so then I can make that judgment call a little bit more easily.
But like, maybe we're leading up to someone turning on the cookout and it being like a big kind of whole game thing. Like, maybe that's yet to come. So I don't know. It's very entertaining what's happening so far. It's just this week, for whatever reason, and I think it's, like I said before, for me, it's just seeing kind of the person going and the HOH not really playing the game the best that they could. But I'm hoping that there's something coming and someone's going to make some real big moves, or else, the people who've been playing and doing it well are just going to continue doing so.
So can you just tell me exactly how that Coin of Destiny works? So I haven't really thought through what would be the optimal play, like who winning and what they would do, and then how would they use that coin? Like, I don't really know how it works.
So the coin is, so they're going to have to play a comp to win the coin, right? That's how the High Rollers room works. Derek Frazier obviously can play if Hannah gets at least 75. Is that what it is?
100, I think. I think she has 100. She has 150, right? She got 75 2 weeks ago.
150. Yeah, so she has to get 100. Okay, so she does have to get 100 to get her in the position to play. That's it. I don't think anyone else, unless they get some opportunities tomorrow's HOH or something like that, to get
like if it's the slip and slide like we've been speculating, and there's an opportunity to get some BB bucks, and there was the opportunity to get BB bucks in that veto competition that Derek F got.
Yeah, they're the only three that can play.
So assuming Derek X is out of the house, it would be Derek Frazier and maybe Hannah playing. So it might just be Derek Frazier playing. And then they will flip a coin. And supposedly this is anonymous. So Big D could flip a coin and it say, no, you are not the new HOH. And this thing flops, but I can't imagine production letting that happen.
It's going to be a weighted coin.
Right? You have to flip it and it says, great, you're now the anonymous secret HOH. Who are your noms? And so then you get to pick 2 new noms. The original ones come down and these are replaced anonymously. Again, what good does anonymous do when we're pretty sure it's Big D?
So like Derek F for Hannah.
Now they have Xavier and Kyland have been planting the seeds that probably Tiffany is going to be able to afford this, even though that's not true. They want to make it a thing. Like, wait, who is this? It could be Tiffany. Big D wouldn't put Sarah Beth and Kyland up, which is what's going to happen. Most of the cookout is putting Kyland and Sarah Beth up anonymously with this coin. So If you want to give your money to Hannah and give her the option to play, great, but her noms are going to be the same as Big D. But then we'd at least have a battle.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of like how can everything mess up? Like they'll just put up Alyssa if like Sarah Beth comes, say Claire wins, takes down Sarah Beth, Alyssa will go up, Alyssa would go home. There's nothing really that can be done to save whomever out of the non-cookout people aren't on the block.
Yeah, this week, I don't think this week anything exciting is going to happen.
It's very predictable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then unfortunately, you've just lost too many non-cookout members for there to be the like
revolution. Yeah.
Yeah, because even if they do figure it out, which hopefully you figure it out, but then you don't have any numbers. You don't have any way to battle back. So
well, what if though? Actually, I guess there's the one loophole. Say Claire, say a non-cookout person wins the head of household. Okay. Even if they do put up Sarah Beth and Kyland, like they'll probably be encouraged to do. Say that the third non-cookout person wins the veto and takes down, say, Sarah Beth, they would have to then put up a cookout member, right?
Sorry, I lost your track. We should also bring up that Xavier would be the third nominee at this point if he's not HOH.
He wouldn't be on the block. So it'd be Xavier, Kyland, and potentially a third cookout member in this scenario. If, say, a non-cookout member wins head of household and wins veto and takes the other non-cookout member off the block, right?
Sure. Yeah. What are the odds that's going to happen, though? Because the non-cookout members they'd have to come up with some realization, right? Claire's not taking Sarah Beth or Alyssa down. Sarah Beth, is she going to take Alyssa down?
Maybe.
I don't know if they would take any of them down.
I mean, I think Alyssa could take down Sarah Beth, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we could point out here there was a new alliance formed.
That's true. Monarchy.
Monarchy is Kyland and Sarah Beth with Xavier and Alyssa, which I understand just as for optics, you're making it look like you guys are working together. But if you are putting Sarah Beth and Alyssa in an alliance together, how are you then going to get them to target each other later? I guess they feel like
hope that somebody else targets them for them.
Someone will take them out. Yeah, exactly. I think that's very unlikely because that'd be so interesting if it'd
be like the craziest thing that could happen.
But I feel like you're right, Sarah. It's going to be like a couple predictable weeks, I guess, or at least the next one or whatever, and
then we're going to have either a triple or we're going to have this fake double that Canada just did. Either way, sure.
I'm just sad though, because like I just want to see what really happens from 7 to 6 to 5. I don't want it to be condensed in one. Like I really want to see the people fighting for it to get having the full week to get people to vote for them. Like I want to see the full weeks of game from 7 to 6 to 5, and I don't want it all condensed into one episode.
The thing that I like about stuff like that is people are with double evictions or maybe even a triple is that people are more willing to make moves that maybe they wouldn't if they had that time, because they know that they can convince people temporarily perhaps to make go with that, but in the long run if they had a full week they would never be able to do it. So I feel like people make rash decisions and they're hoping for that. So I kind of like that element to it because kind of anything could happen and maybe some chaos. We all enjoy a little chaos every now and then.
Yes, I love it. I mean, we're sitting here talking about these predictable weeks. Like, I'm fine with it. Speed it up. Like, stab them, get them out. I mean, odds are we're going to see either Tiffany, X, or Kyland go that night.
Yeah,
because that's the big
all
move.
Three. Who knows?
Hey, I'll take it. Like,
all three, and then like a Derek F win. Like Jonathan will be the only person happy
stop
here.
It. No, Hannah would take the win if.
No, I mean, I do feel like Hannah might be winning this game just because of the fact that she's not threatening. but she may win some of these like brain comps at the end.
Yeah.
So I could see her winning and not being a target. So I could see it, and I think that she could get the votes next to a few people.
Behind X, I feel like X is the best situated within the cookout. I think she's the second best situated. Like she's in the best with most of the other cookout members. And yeah, if she could pull out some of these mental comps here at the end, absolutely. Makes up for all the bad moves she made in the beginning of the game. Have that end game. Well, there is a potential vote flip, possibly something this week. Like it is not a for certain vote that Derek is leaving, but also the odds of it are so low. So that is where I will leave this video.
It's fine. We want him to be playing better and harder, and he's not. So we want this game more than he wants this game, and so we're just going to have to. Yeah, a little bit.
Aww.
We want him to fight harder. We want him to play. We want him to stay, but
he's
not
pretty hard.
He doesn't want to as much as we do. Like we would be like selling everything. Like of course, promising the world. Like everything would be on the table.
I'd be selling Chantele out. I'd be like doing what I needed to do to stay. Absolutely.
I mean, yeah, I feel like he's putting a little bit of work in it. Tiffany's putting a little bit of work into it. Oz has even tried to put a little bit of work into it. And Hannah is cutting them off at every single corner and saying, no. So it's an uphill battle for all of them. But there might be enough sympathy votes.
I'm really hoping that they screw this up with sympathy votes and be like, oh, oopsie.
I think Tiffany can screw it up on purpose. And maybe even Azza. Come on, my Sag. Let's go. I mean, I'd be sad to see Claire go too. I'd be sad
for either of them to go. Absolutely.
Right.
But
who do you think out of the two, because I'm looking for that like comeback, you just survived it by the skin of your teeth maybe. Who do you think out of the two of them are really going to play? Whether they have an opportunity or not, but like, who do you think has the better chance of like really coming for it next week?
I would say Derek X, because he'll have the money. So he will get to play in the Coin of Destiny. So like he said, he wanted to F things up. So he would have that chance to maybe do that. And he's way better at competitions than Clara is. So the opportunity to maybe win a head of household, win a veto, like have some agency in the game, he is more likely, in my opinion, to do so. So I think that he has more longevity. He'll be the target for longer, for sure. But I think that he might be able to make some moves.
Do people know that he has that money? Has he been open about that?
I think so.
Hannah has.
And Hannah's the one who doesn't want to make sure that he has that opportunity. So maybe she hasn't expressed it verbally out loud that you've seen, but knows in her head, like, if he stays, he gets the opportunity to, mess maybe the cookout out. I don't know.
Yeah.
You never know. She might be thinking these things ahead of time. So.
Yeah, no, I think she is. I mean, I agree. I love Claire and Derek very, very much, but I think the upside for Derek to stay is a little bit bigger because he can win comps and he can go after the X's and the Kylans of the world and help Tiffany get further. Tiffany, I think, is playing the strongest strategic game, and I think she's not going to make it to the end because Kylan and X are going to take her out, and that wouldn't happen if Derek X was in the house. I wish Claire could go like Janelle style and say, screw all of y'all. How dare you come for me? I'm going to win a bunch of comps and take you all out, but I don't see that really happening. Yeah. So
cross your fingers though. Like,
yes, well,
I can see her winning next to the this head of household. Who knows, right? It's still any person's game.
Oh, well, that would be fun, and then the coin takes over, and well, whatever. So
yeah,
is what it is.
Or we could get really lucky that Derek F. Like they're like, oh wait, Claire's head of household. We don't want Derek F. to use this coin flip, so let's make it flop the wrong way. And
there we go.
So
production, like a digital coin on the screen. So
yeah, I bet it is. I bet you're right.
Programmed however they want it to be.
Flip. Which way will it land? Or like, We see you. You guys, thank you so much for joining us live in the chat. Thank you, Chantele and Jonathan, for joining me and coming back. I appreciate it. If you guys are joining later, please leave a comment. Let me know how you're feeling about this vote this week, this backdoor. Who do you want to win the coin coming out? Chantele, tell everyone where they can watch you or find you. What do you want to?
Well, in like half an hour, we're going live talking about the challenge. If you want to pop on over to Reality Realness with 3 S's, where we talk about a lot of reality TV as well. Obviously, I'll be back hanging out with you, Sarah, at 6 p.m. here on Nerdtainment, talking about Survivor South Africa. I think are we at 13? Holy, 12.
Wait,
12.
No,
we're getting up there. It's definitely been a fun season to talk about. And I'm doing Bachelor in Paradise on Tuesday and Wednesday night, so the day after the episode, which has been quite spicy so far. So I'm always around. You can find me for sure.
Yay. Jonathan, what's going on? Where can they find you?
You can probably Instagram's best. So Jonathan Oliveira 1983, or on Twitter, Oliveira Casting, and see what shows I'm working on. There's a new premiere next month. So, to find out all about that.
Awesome. Yay. All right. Well, everyone have a wonderful night. Fingers crossed for whoever your fave is, if they can stay tomorrow. And I don't know, something exciting happen and it not just be a predictable week, maybe. I don't know. All right. Well, we'll see you guys next time. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.